The railways of Britain, in their prime, are the most powerful railways on Earth. And these railways are the power behind the docks and industries that make up Great Britain. These are the tales of the Big Four.
As the years passed, some of the older engines were slowly being used less and less, so unfortunately I had to make the decision to have them put in the museum for the time being. I figured they wouldn't be very happy, but we'd have to see the outcome, so I wandered over to the sheds that morning to tell them the news. Morning engines, how are you all this fine day? I've got some bad news and some good news for everyone. Which do you want to hear first?
The good news first, sir.
Well, as you are all aware, we're getting closer to the Big Four Grouping Act. I've been told that my older engines are to be moved to the River Denway Railway Museum. That means you, Ellie, Hamish, Jeffries, Capri. I'm sorry it has had to come to this. But the head of directors are noticing that you four specifically have been late with your trains, and people are complaining about it. My brother, who runs the museum, will take good care of you all. It's a shame you guys are leaving us, but I'm sure you'll be in great care with Mr. Todd's brother in charge.
But why, sir?
It's just how it is, Caprice. Locomotive Works are building bigger and faster engines all the time. Eventually, even Rory and Carter could be replaced too.
We heard that.
At least we're still useful, old-timer.
He's right, you two, but that's no way to talk to Jeffries. Anyways, the good news is that 2 new engines are coming here for a trial period. They'll be arriving later today, both from the GNR, so they travelled quite far from London.
GNR, you say? That'll be exciting.
What kind of engines are they, sir?
Are these new engines replacing the older ones who are leaving later today?
Wait and see. They'll be arriving first thing tomorrow morning. When they do, can the 2 of you stay behind to show them the ropes to get used to what they have to do? It's only a trial, but they may end up being permanently allocated here. But yes, Carlisle, they are taking over the roles from some of the others. The next morning, as some of the engines left the shed for the day's work, the 2 newcomers arrived coupled together with a brake van behind the bigger of the 2 engines.
Hello, I take it this is Denway? We were told to come to a big yard.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the railway. I'm Rory. Nice to meet you two.
I'm Reuben, and this is Herbert. He's a bit shy.
Welcome, you two. It's nice to see new faces on my railway. How was your journey?
Uneventful. Nothing got in our way. Quite the distance from London to here, though.
That's good. I'll let you get settled in. You can rest for this morning, but later on, I'd like one of you to take a goods train to Axminster and to learn the line. As for you, Jay, I've sent a request to the works here for you to be repainted. I'll let you choose what livery you'd like.
Sure, sir. I can do that.
When am I scheduled to be repainted? Later this afternoon when you come back with your train. Reuben left that afternoon to take his train to Axminster, meeting up with Henry, while Jay was being repainted into a new livery as his current MBR one was fading.
Hello, I take it you're new here. I'm Henry. Nice to meet you.
Yes, I am. I'm kind of lost, though. Can you help me?
Sure, where is it you need to go?
Axminster, I think?
Ah, that's easy. It's just the next station. I'm sure you would have passed through River Denway and Denway to get here.
Ah, thanks.
Reuben left the station, followed by Henry not long after in the opposite direction. Atlas was in the yard. He heard everything and wanted to play a prank on the new engines.
Yes, that's perfect. Herbert is young and inexperienced. We can have some fun with him. I'll tell Brighton later about it.
The next day, most of the engines were in the sheds, except for Rory, Carter and Jay, who were still being repainted. The twins had set off before sunrise to get a coal train from Rockwell for the coal towers at Denway and Morton Heath.
Well, looks like I'd best be off. Gotta take my first mixed goods.
See you later, Herbert. Remember to ask someone if you don't know where to go. Joey should be at Morton to shunt your train.
Will do. See ya.
Oh my, I'd best get going, otherwise I'm going to be late. Got to take a train up to Oldcastle, then collect some wagons from the docks to bring back to Morton Heath for William.
Capri left the sheds in a rush and hurried away with his train to Oldcastle. He flew by Rochwell and Derby Street, not knowing he was meant to stop there. The passengers shouted and waved to Capri. He thought they were waving at him to say hello.
Oi, listen here, you steam-powered kettle. We were supposed to stop at the other stations, you know? We're gonna have to report this to your manager, you hear? Engines these days, racing around like they think they own the rails.
My, he's in some rush.
He sure is. Let's just hope he hasn't missed any stops.
Arriving into Denway, Rory and Carter were there taking on water, seeing Capri rushing up the branch line. Capri arrived at Old Castle, stopping at the station a few minutes late. The passengers who had been aboard his train were angry. Athena was also there waiting to depart with her train, overhearing the commotion.
Oh bother, that can't be good. Anyways, I've got to shunt this away, then take these vans back to Morton too.
Caprice, you've come in awfully quickly. You better not have missed any stations again.
I don't know. The passengers of a few stations were waving and shouting at me.
Then you probably have. I heard all that commotion from the passengers. I can tell you right now, Mr. Todd won't be very happy to hear about this.
Athena was right. Once Capri had arrived back to Morton Heath with his train for William, then headed back to Denway light engine, Mr. Todd was waiting as he pulled into the yard. Atlas was there, shunting tankers in the yard. Jay, who was now done with being repainted, pulled up next to the sheds. The engine saw him. What's this I hear about you missing your stops at Dalby Street and Rushwell, Capri? The passengers complained to the station master at Dalby, who passed the message on to me.
Sorry sir, I don't know how to stop there.
I'd rather you be late than miss important stops. I'm sure the connection from Morton Heath could have made up the time lost.
Smart now, Jay. That new colour suits you.
Thanks, William. It needed doing. My old livery was fading and was patchy in places. While Mr. Todd was chatting to Capri, Henry rolled in to take on some more water, who'd beaten his previous record back to Denway by a whole 5 minutes.
I'm back, don't worry, Caprice. Luckily I made up the few minutes that you lost with the other stations. A bus brought the other passengers from the stations you missed to me. I got brought to... I got to Broughton with 2 minutes to spare.
See what I mean, Capri? He's guaranteed to make up for lost time.
My apologies, sir. I didn't mean to be late.
That's not good enough, Capri. You know full well to stop at all stations on your regular runs, regardless of being late or not. Please don't let this happen again. Anyway, I've got some news for most, if not all of you. Mr. Todd outlined the plan. In a few days, the older engines would be taken to the museum by William and Max, with Joey shunting them into their respective spots.
It'll feel strange just sitting around in a museum, not being out on the rails with everyone else.
Yes, it will, Hamish, but that's unfortunately the way it is. Max and William, you two will take the engines to the museum. Then Joey, if you go too, and you shunt them into their respective places, there's already an engine there due to another manager selling the engine to me to help get the museum rolling for visitors to come and see you all.
Okay, sir. It's not such a bad thing, I suppose, but it has been a good run while it lasted.
Sorry he has to come to this, guys. Just sitting in the museum doing nothing.
The day came. The engines got ready to be transported by William and Max. William shunted them all together as Max coupled up behind. The other engines watched them leave for the last time. At the museum, Mr. Todd was there to watch the operations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything. It's been a great honour working with you.
You all deserve a well-earned rest. While you're here, you'll be checked over every month to keep you well maintained by the workmen.
We'll miss you all. Hope you can come see us every now and again.
Ah, thanks. It's been nice to meet you older engines. We'll be sure to do a great job in your absence. Sierra and Caprice.
Anyways, engines, now that's sorted, I've got some more work for most of you. Firstly, the usual for some of you. But now that we've lost some engines, I'll need some to cover their trains for the time being, till I can sort the schedules so you're not too overworked. See you all later. Mr. Todd walked back to his office in the station building. As the engines chattered away into the night, at least it wasn't raining for once.
It's going to be very different around here, now that the older engines are no longer working with us. But that does mean more shed space, so the others who sat outside can move in.
Indeed, William, but we can still visit them. It's not like they're that far away. Anyway, we'd best get our work done.
That's true, you two, but all's well that ends well. And with that, the engines got back to work, with the fleet a bit smaller, but Mr. Todd would have plans for some more engines to join. The two newcomers were welcomed onto the railway. Next year, we'd see the fastest engine to ever come to the railway. But that's a story for another day.